feel like we're at a poker table. You know, we're all going to do moving world poker over here, and whoever gets, what is it, Texas Hold'em? Whoever gets it, then we move on over there.
There you go. How's your poker face?
It's good. It's good. When I'm John Kreese, the poker face is there.
Speaking of John Kreese, where has he been? He just shows up out of nowhere and wows all of us.
You know what's interesting is that when they told me, they said to me, "We want you for episode 10, season 2. You're going to set up season 2." And I said to them, we were at lunch, and I said, "Why can't I come in episode 6, episode 7?" And they said, "Because you're going to set up season 2, it's got to be episode 10." And I said, "Okay." And they were so smart. They were just so intelligent, and they were so persuasive, and they knew so much about this guy that all the notes and backstory that I created, literally, they had on their plate already. They knew exactly why he became a bully. I worked with some, talking about season 2, I went in there with a whole bunch of information because I worked with Army Rangers, which is where he came from. John Kreese came from in Vietnam. And they had all that information already about why I became a bully, why, No Mercy came about. I even created the name of Cobra Kai. And I thought it was very ingenious how I got to it. They had something better, So I said, "Oh shit, I'm gonna go for it." But in the last 30 years, I was not allowed to tell anybody before the show aired if I was in the show or not. So what I did was I told everyone, because they all came up to me and said, "Aren't you in the show? Aren't you in the show?" When they started hearing the press, and I would say, "No, I'm working for the KGB for the last 30 years. I'm working for the CIA. I'm in prison. I'm dead." And I would make up this stuff just to entertain myself because I couldn't even talk about the character. I was asked not to speak for 7, 9 months from the time we made the deal in September until May of last year when it aired. It was horrible.
You're not going to keep a secret?
Yeah, well, I got quite the sun in my mouth every time
So where are he and Johnny at the start of season 2, relationship-wise?
Well, it's a really good episode, and I can tell you a little bit. It just continues where it left off, and it's a brilliant episode. Episode 1. I don't know if some people in the press saw it. 10 episodes of season 2. Some didn't, but it's really a rich season. But episode 1 is brilliant because you really find out where he's been, what he wants to do, and how he wants to share it with Johnny Lawrence. And it's written articulately. It's really written with everybody's gray, everybody's human. There isn't a white hat or a black hat, And that's what I like about it. And that's what I like about, if and when we get a season 3, to cultivate, when I first got this part, I thought he was just another heavy. John Kreese is another heavy. I was doing Cagney Lacey at the time. I didn't know really what to make of it. He wasn't iconic at the time. But then slowly, you just realize how much the public loved the show and how much they loved the 3 reasons why it was so popular. They were either a bully back in '84 when they saw it, or they had a romance that didn't work, that was monumental to them, or they were a fish out of water, that basically their father was in the military or whatever, and they had to move around. And it was a highly identifiable time for most of the public with those 3 issues. And I believe that that's why the movie, aside from the fact that it was written so well, I think that's why it was so memorable and iconic. It carried on into this natural phenomenon of, you couldn't do this with a so-so movie. You couldn't do this with, a lot of movies I made. You couldn't do this with Steel Justice or whatever, but, you couldn't even do it with Wyatt Earp. But the thing is that you can do it with an iconic picture where you could care about the characters and everybody followed them for so long, 35 years later.
You mentioned father issues. Now, I always wanted to know, was there a sense of a father-son dynamic between Johnny and Kreese, seeing that he had his own father issues? Kind of felt like you guys had a father-son dynamic, kind of. Was that something?
Yeah, I mean, really, I didn't allude to that in the movies because it was never the time. But he was my best student. He was a son that I wish I had. And over the years, my character, you know, he had a lot of time to think about, which you learn about in this new season. He had a lot of time to think about breaking the trophy, giving the headlock, and making an exit so darkly, so insensitively. And that's not what the character is about now. A lot of that in there, but he's not all about the stoic, vengeful guy that we saw, in Karate Kid 1 and 2 and 3. So there's only two things John Kreese thinks about. He thinks about the integrity of Cobra Kai and Johnny Lawrence as his son that he did have. And I can't give you too much information, but
It's all there.
when one gets in the way of the other, there's no time for sorrow.
So
No mercy.
in season
There's
one,
no mercy, right?
we see Johnny almost like redeem himself a couple times during the show, and then he reverts back because of insecurities. So are you going to be a hindrance to that, or are you going to? What do you think?
I am neither a hindrance or a supporter. There are changes that go on in the script, in each script, where we have a love affair, and where we eventually hate each other, and then when maybe we have a love affair again. It goes like this, because these two characters are flawed characters, and like in any good relationship, you just are at each other's throats, or you're making love, and that's what they've written, which is so amazing, which is why there's so many viewers, because they've written things that we go through in life, emotions we go through. So John Kreese, being as much of a Darth Vader in the karate world, the vengeful villain, he still does have a soul, and he still has a respect for the things that mean something to him, that probably should mean a little bit more. That's all I can say.
So how do you feel the movie is going to be out in theaters 35 years later? How does that make you feel?
Well, I took all three discs with me to Atlanta, and I wanted to see my body language, because these characters, these writers are so astute. They wouldn't let me do like this until a certain scene in a certain episode. I couldn't put my hands in here, and they're so astute with all of it. So I watched my body language. I wanted to see where this character was so stoic. And he was stoic through everything. Whether his students won, they lost, he showed a little bit of emotion, but there's more emotion to John Kreese in those films. Because it was basically almost cartoonish. Let's put it this way, that was told to me, one day I was doing the commentary for Wyatt Earp, a picture I had done with Costner, and the commentary man said, in reference to Karate Kid, he said that the light would not have shone so bright if the dark side wasn't as dark. And to me, that was quite astute, So in essence, in the movies, I was really dark. In this episode, in this season, there's an evolution. Not to say he's angelic. It's an evolution.
That's what makes the show good. Because it humanizes all of you.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Humanizes. I just think it's a phenomenon 35 years later. Another great thing for me, and I gotta go, how many movies in the last, since the 40s, since Casablanca, how many movies do we remember that many lines? Really, Play It Again, Sam in Casablanca, we have The Force Be With You, we have Okay, Pilgrim, in John Wayne pictures, and you have maybe one or two others I can't think of. But we have No Mercy. Mercy is for the weak. We have Sweep the Leg. We have
Give him a body bag.
Give him a body bag, wax on, wax off. I mean, and that's 5 or 6 we can think of.